Good day, sunshine. Good morning, consciousness. I feel that for the very first time I am recording in English. My name is Taza. This is called RADIOTAZA. And I live in Brazil, in Barra Bonita. Barra Bonita is a city 300 kilometers up from São Paulo, this marvelous but totally mad city. And, well, Barra Bonita is a beautiful city, is a very small town, but down by the riverside, in the riverside, Rio Tietê, and we have something similar to the Panama Channel. It's called Eclusa. It lifts up the boats, and they turn around over the Rio Tietê, 20 meters up there, and then it comes down. It takes 20 minutes, 1 minute, 1 meter per minute, and it comes back to the shore here, nearby the church. I live in front of it. And I was surprised today. I'm still a man who gets surprised somehow. I mean, in a certain way, everything is so mad in the world, actually. And I'm not a young man, body-wise, anymore. But I am a little bit more identified with my spirit. And in a certain way, I feel like being a child, nearly. Sometimes I am behaving like an adolescent. And, well, actually, I have the feeling that I should resign. I am here with a revista. It's a magazine. It's called Veja. It is a marvelous magazine, very, very known all over Brazil. It's marvelous, really. But the problem is that sometimes I have the feeling, many times I have the feeling that I should resign to watch magazines and newspapers, because the quantity of bullshit that they force on us. I don't have many words in English. My English is very simple. But they force ideas, conceptions, and a lot of bad news. It's very hard, it's very difficult to open a magazine in Brazil or newspapers and watch a nice conversation, a nice reportagem. And despite I am, physically speaking, physically wise, an old man, I got again shocked and surprised with something. I always had the idea, after a few years, being a lover of Beatles, those Beatles, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Richard Starkey, né? And George Harrison, those considered the four fabulous boys. And somehow, after a few years, I had the feeling that they have two really polar opposite sides. Well, like everything in life life is very dual. And I had the feeling that they were many times very crazy and sometimes very depressive. I am also a lover of the work of a man called Osho, considered an enlightened master, and he's an author of kind of 650 books. This is really a lot. And I had the feeling that the British Empire effectively had produced many beautiful things all over the world. But not just that. I also have heard that in India, many years ago, maybe 1 or 2 or 3,000 years ago, when people from India, from England, went to India, I have heard, they went to India with a lot of cloth to be merchandised, to be sold. Clothes and cloth. How do you call that? Panos, cloth. The point is that I have heard also they used to arrest and cut the hand of women, of people who were builders of clothes. My English is not very good. They were costureiros, costureiras. They used to sew clothes to sell. And I have heard that English people went to India and they used to arrest people and cut their hands away, so they are not able to sew anymore, to produce clothes. They will depend on merchandisers, British people, to go there. I also have heard that there was a time that they said that the sun never sets in the British Empire, because the British Empire had possessions, had land in every nook and corner of the world, around the whole world. But nothing lasts forever. And I also have heard that one day everything started to slip out of the hands. For instance, one wise, they speak of Mahatma Gandhi as a great hero. I wonder if he really was a hero, but I mean, he was. I saw movies about him and all this philosophy of non-aggression, non-violence is pretty nice, pretty beautiful. And I also have heard Osho speaking about Mahatma Gandhi as a person who was a bit of a masochist, or at least against the progress. This I have heard also. I have heard also that somehow it started to get very difficult for British people to hold India and to keep it and to maintain it and to govern it and to repress and to force and to slave and to be responsible, because if you have slaves, you are responsible for them. You cannot let them die, obviously. Otherwise, you will have no slaves anymore. And as far as the movie that I have seen about Mahatma Gandhi is correct, obviously he was a hero. And I saw things, I don't know if they are real or not, that shocks us. People being murdered and Mahatma couldn't do anything, just being there or being humiliated or whatever. But also, one day British people could not anymore hold that whole empire. And slowly, slowly they started to lose everything. And that's why I have the feeling that the Beatles have two sides. One side is completely crazy and celebrative and joyful and madly crazy. And the other side, very depressive. I have the feeling that nothing is as depressive as British depression. Because it's not easy to be a tremendous, potent empire and slowly, slowly starting to lose everything and lose control of everything and have to open your hands and let go of it. Let go, let go, let go of it. Therefore, I had the notion that Michel, ma belle. It is a very sad song from Mr. Paul McCartney, Sir James Paul McCartney. And is there anybody going to listen to my story? All about a girl that John Lennon made. And Paul explains in a beautiful video how they made it in Abbey Road in a CD called Rubber Soul. I have the feeling that this girl and Michelle were both from Rubber Soul. I guess so. And there are other songs from A Hard Day's Night. It's a beautiful CD in Brazil called Os Reis do Iê Iê Iê, the Kings from Yes, Yes, Yes. No. You know, if you break my heart, I'll go, but I'll be back again. It's also very much a sad song that the guy says that he loves her very much, and all those troubles between impossible love affairs or hard love affairs. I didn't know that I was going to speak about all this. Actually, I simply opened the magazine Veja. It's a very trustful magazine in Brazil. And suddenly, no matter I am not tremendously sympathetic to homosexualism or bisexualism or whatever. I myself, I am heterosexual. But when I read in the part panorama in the page 30 of this 1st January 2014 magazine from Veja, about a man called, let me see, where is his name? Alan Turing. It's written here that the British mathematician Alan Turing was considered the father of the modern computation. He understood something called Enigma. It was a secret code which was used by the Nazis. The German Nazis, they had for communication a secret code. And this man Turing, and they say here that he was an homosexual. But I didn't know that until 1967, homosexualism was forbidden in Britain. I didn't know that. I'm not judging. I'm not saying yes or not for anything, but my heart went nearly fucked when I read here that he was condemned, no matter he was a hero, and he has deciphered, he understood the secret code from the Nazis, and he was a brilliant mathematician. No matter, he was arrested and condemned in 1952, because until 1967, when the Beatles were making that roll up for the mystery tour, the magical mystery tour, was 67. In 52, he was arrested. He was put out of the Bletchley Park, the British Center of the Codification, and he was castrated chemically. With injections of feminine hormones. You called humanity? I have heard that the Prince of Wales, the Prince Charles, and also I had the feeling that Bertrand Russell said the same, that civilization is a great idea, someone must put it on practice. And I have the feeling that the Prince Charles also said the same, that humanity is a nice name, that people should really one day become human. So not just homosexuality. I'm not homosexual, so I'm just commenting something that shocks me. That this man who was a hero for the British Empire, Alan Turing, he was discovered as homosexual. He was put out from the job, so he was not anymore in the center, in the British Center of the Codification, and he was castrated chemically with injections of feminine hormones. He died in 1954, 2 years after that, out of excess of cyanide. But it was not a suicide. They concluded that it was not suicidal, but because he compulsorily used medicines. And now Now this very year, he was forgiven by the Queen Elizabeth II. So it continues the same bullshit in the world. They kill Joanna d'Arc, and then few years after, another pope assumes, and Joanna d'Arc is not just forgiven, but canonized as a saint. And they do it constantly. And this man was forced to receive injections because homosexuality was forbidden, and I did not know. What I knew is that Brian Epstein was an homosexual who fell in love with John Lennon, therefore, because otherwise, who cares about this John Lennon? Who cares about this Paul McCartney, Sir James? Who cares about George Harrison and Richard Starkey? I mean, Richard Starkey came after. It was Pete Best. And this is Stuart Whitman, who was the fifth Beatle. Who cares about these people? But the person, Brian Epstein, a very nice man, Jewish, intelligent, certainly rich, and very, very intelligent, business-like. Like I have heard Osho saying that Jewish people are very, very, very intelligent. More than 25% or much more than this of the Nobel Prizes went to Jews. They are really very intelligent, tremendously. They suffered immensely. Maybe that's why it increased their intelligence. And they received many Nobel Prizes. Who created the psychoanalytical movement? Sigmund Freud, a Jew. Who created, okay, you can tell me that Saint Paul created Christianity. He created Christianity out of fear because he had visions of Jesus Christ, another Jew. Jewish people are tremendously intelligent, and they are immensely creative. And there's another Jew, quite famous. I don't know if Darwin? No, Darwin was not a Jew. There is another one who created something phenomenal. And I could say that in a way, Brian Epstein, out of his love for John Lennon, created the Beatles. That's how I see the whole thing. Brian Epstein was tremendously in love with John Lennon. John Lennon might not be a homosexual as far as I know. But anyway, if you are homosexual and fall in love with someone, and that's what happened with Mr. Brian Epstein, and he made what he could. He fell in love with the Beatles, with John, and he went to talk with the parents of the four Beatles. They put away Pete Best and contracted Ringo Starr, who had not very good health, but it was great to put him there, and bah, the Beatles were created. Out of what? Out of the passion or love from Brian Epstein for John Lennon and the Beatles. And he spoke with EMI. And he spoke with other people around the world, probably many of them Jews also. Sellers of CDs and LPs. and those extended plays or little ones. No? So then, in 67, homosexualism was liberated, was not a crime anymore. I didn't know that, so I knew today. I got this magazine here from a friend of mine from Herbalife. Diego is a friend of mine. I have no children. He could be my child. And I love him, and his mother, and his bride, Iriana. I love them. I cannot say that I love Herbalife, but I use it constantly. And I got this magazine here because this magazine was in the place that I drink my shake from Herbalife. And I love Diego and the mother Rosie and the bride Iriana. And I got this magazine here because it was there in the place from Herbalife. I just adore having. I am a little bit predicative with excess of sweets, but Herbalife uses no sugar. I am really difficult with sugar. If you can go onto YouTube and watch Sugar Blues. Sugar Blues is the name of a great book which explains what happens in your organism when you consume sugar, this white sugar. It's a kind of a poison and a kind of a drug. And Herbalife uses fructose, fruit sugar. My English is a bit too simple. I'm very sorry for that. But today I spoke with Gupta, is an astrologer, and Facebook. I have the feeling that the internet and Facebook, YouTube, Google, Yahoo, Internet Explorer, and Google Chrome, and the Mozilla is a great revolution because we can communicate with each other so simply. As a musician, I also can. No? I have 750 or more videos in YouTube. I love recording since I was a little child. And Diego told me that he is not able to speak about Herbalife there, but Herbalife is putting a millionaire and very beautiful merchant, how do you call it, commercial, in this Veja magazine. And I love to have this shake, or maracujá, or chocolate, or doce de leite, and so on. And they say here, Herbalife and nutrition for a better life. And well, I like to go there. It is a therapy to me. It's not so cheap, considering a milkshake, but as far as I go there, it is kind of nearly a psychotherapy for me. It's a group that you can share, and all of us, we are there to have two cups of tea, one energetic tea, another green tea. I guess it is so. I don't know. And then the milkshake, the shake. I use it with soya milk. That's an option that I can have. Other people use milk. I don't appreciate to use milk. I'm not a little cow. So I'm not certainly tremendously against, but I'm not so. And so I got the magazine to me because I was reading, and when I went to this, well, I saw many things that I really don't like. And I see the death of Yusef Latif. He plays flute and saxophone, and this beautiful thing from Herbalife. And a lot of bullshit that unfortunately, when you open magazines, I don't want even to talk about a new Adolf Hitler who appeared on the world. I don't want even to talk about his name. Actually, I didn't want to talk anything, but a man who kills his whole family or put them in jail. And there are certainly some dictators, again and again. I have the feeling that really Osho is right. It would be a great evolution if, when my father works as a musician, he was a brilliant musician, and where he stops, I can continue. There should be an evolution. For instance, I love tremendously John Lennon up to now, and Paul McCartney. George Harrison a little bit less, but unfortunately they are not here. James Paul is here, Sir Paul. If it would be possible that the Beatles come until here and then I start here and continue, there should be and could be an evolution. Not a revolution, but an evolution. The point is that I have the feeling that Osho is right when he says that this never happens. So I have also to start from the very beginning. And that's why, and then there's such an amount of shit in the so-called potential human progress. But for instance, I have the feeling that since the Beatles, the machine praises the youth. Because if I praise an idiotic singer who thinks bullshit, but he has charisma, and 10 million people adore the guy, certainly all these people, good or bad, Michelle or not, girl or not, Sgt. Pepper's or not, the work of Madonna, the work of, it's a nice work, and Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and all those British rockers that I adore them, that I love them, Mr. Mick Jagger, Rolling Stones, and so on and so forth. Many people, they speak joyful and nice and intelligent things, but not all of them. Actually, most of the time that I hear radio here in Brazil with people singing in English, many times I cannot even understand what they say. And I'm totally sure that 98% of Brazilian people does not get a wink. Nothing, they understand nothing what is being thrown to them. We have a tremendous brain. Now I'm going to beg your permission, for your permission, to speak a little bit as a psychologist that I am. We have a small brain, which is not much bigger than this here, and your closed hand, wrist. Forgive me for my English. But today Gupta insisted that I record in English, so I discovered that I don't have. Your brain is not much bigger than this, but it is a tremendous computer. My computer is not a tremendous computer. My laptop is nice. It's nice, very nice. I am recording now. But to produce a computer that could be compared, slightly compared to the human brain, my God, I have the feeling that this entire building and all this corner here, all this quarter, with all these houses, are not enough to create a so fantastic computer as a one and only human brain. Only one. It's just fantastic. Fantastic machine. I wonder if Ustream will really save because 36 minutes now. And I throw it to YouTube. I hope it works. One little human brain has a tremendous capacity that all of you who are not certainly aware of it. Not even a wink. 95% of you do not make any idea how fantastic your brain is, how fantastic you are. I myself, I don't have much idea of how fantastic I am. Once in a while, I stare at my arm and I see, my God, there is blood all around here inside, and it doesn't come out except if I hurt myself. It's there and it works perfectly. And there are veins and arteries. The arteries are with red blood, the other is blue. So I wonder, the blue blood is dirty blood. So in Brazil they speak about royal people as blue blood. Blue blood is certainly full of junk on it. And it's cleaning. The cleaning is through the heart, it goes to the lung, and the lung cleans. And it's fantastic. One single human being is fantastic. Not only a Jesus Christ walking over water, that Allan Kardec has a tremendous explanation, marvelous explanation. How is it possible that a Jesus Christ walks over water? But not just that is a miracle. You are a miracle. I am a miracle. I speak, I am recording, I think. I observe my feelings, I observe my gestures, I observe my legs, I observe my image over there in the Ustream broadcaster. Strangely enough, I have white bird when I look at that old man over there or that mature man over there. We are a miracle. You are a miracle. I am a miracle. We are miracles. Not just we are the champions, like Mr. Fred Mercury, the one who unfortunately died so young, from Queen. It's a great group. rock and roll group. I am a rock and roller also. I love to make music for therapy. But we are miracles. So one single human brain has the capacity to be so sensitive, and we use our capacity from 5 to 7% of its capacity only. That's a shaming only. Because if you increase your intelligence, certainly you will disturb everybody. Because if you are intelligent to 15%, which is very rare, one Einstein might be 18%. I have heard that to get enlightened, you have to achieve 30% at least of the capacity of using your human brain. What I want to tell you is that you have the capacity, even if you were not trained to understand English or Chinese or whatever language, there are many centers in your brains. For instance, I have heard that it is possible that this is not the very first time that I am alive in this world. Worth it or not to speak about it now, I had past lives in China. So somewhere in my brain, I might understand many words in Chinese. It was wiped up, and then I was born in Brazil after many lives. And I was trained to understand Portuguese, basically, and English by my parents, and the Beatles, and so on, so forth. But many times you don't understand another man speaking Russian, but you get the sense, you get the knack. I am not able, not even to conceive, because I don't know how 10%, 11%, 8%, 15%, I don't know, my cipher. Certainly it might not be 50%. Because I cannot even imagine how fantastic it would be a man who could, like Jesus, for instance, Buddha, Gautama Buddha, Muhammad, and other enlightened people. I have heard that one of them, he started to listen to, like I have listened when I was in Germany, to some voices. He has heard, read it, and he was not able to read. And then he heard a voice telling him, write down something. And he started to tremble because he didn't know what the hell is this voice inside of my brains. And the voice started to shout with him, write it. Write something. Get the pen, the paper, and write something. And he just got a piece of paper, trembling, and got the pen, got the pencil or whatever, and wrote down something, but he didn't know what he was doing. And when his wife, a very experienced woman, came to the house, he was with fever and trembling and perspiring, the whole body and trembling. And she said, what happens? He says, I heard some voice telling me to write down, and I don't know how to write and read. But I heard I must be crazy, because And he showed the paper to her, and I just got a pen and I wrote this here. That's stupid. But the woman was a trained woman somehow. She was cult and very intelligent and perceptive, like many women, and understandable and loving. And she said, take it easy. I can read what you wrote. She said, you are mad. I'm not able to write anything. And she said, I can tell you what I am reading here because it is written ta 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 ta. And he was absolutely mad about it because he was not able to read and write. But he entered into a transit, and there was something that I would call guardian angel. This I know a little bit. I have experience with this. Telling him to write down something. And sometimes if you don't listen, the voice inside of you starts to speak very assertive, not aggressive, assertive, firm. There was a Russian woman who was going out of the house, and the door was on the street. A very poor country, a poor town. And there was no garden, nothing. You open the door, you are on the street. She was going to open the door, she listened to something inside of her. Don't do that! And she stopped and didn't open the door, and a car passed by and there was a disaster, and he was just... How do you call that in English? Just faking it. How is it? You know what I mean. The car just went. If she would go out, she was dead. And I read this in Germany in a magazine, not Veja magazine, another one. Very nice magazine about psychological things and parapsychological things. And many people in Brazil or wherever else, if you are in your home, in your house, and you listen to voices many times, you will tell your parents, and they will take you to the doctor that you are mad, and you are not mad. It's totally sure that you are not crazy. I know that, but your parents, they are very nice people, but just that they don't know, and you also don't know. You are not prepared to receive some indications, voices, angels, or whatever. Your parents are not so skillful about these kind of things. If you tell them that you are listening to voices, they take you to a psychiatrist. And that's not the case. You are not mad. But if you start to be treated like a crazy woman or a crazy man, you start to get nuts. Because this happens with everybody. With many people. If you are constantly treated like a dirty man, you start to get dirty. I have a friend whom I met when I moved to this house here. And one of his nicknames was Gari. Gari is the one who gets dirty things and throws away. Lixeiro, né? Gari. And he was called very much with this Gari thing, and also called feio, feio, feio. Feio is ugly. Who is the idiot who started to call him ugly? Or the parents, or the wife, or ex-wife, or whatsoever? And I have understood from the people here, some friends, that he is tremendously obsessed by the woman, which is something very worrying. It's very hard to be obsessed by something. A man obsessed by a woman obsessed by a man, but it's more easy to understand when a man is obsessed by a woman for sexual reasons and charismatic or whatsoever. And when you called a man ugly, oh, ugly, come here, ugly, hey, how are you, ugly? Oh, this is ugly. You start to get ugly, and he was called Gary also. Now you imagine if your nickname is bullshit, or butcher, or piece of ass, or whatever bullshit it was. You start to behave like an ugly man. And now he was put out of the psychiatric hospital and he has a job. It's cleaner, not cleaner. He gets junk with a truck who is specialized. I don't know the names in English, you forgive me. He collects junk. But I was speaking about a human brain which is capable. So when the whole day long you hear people singing in English, if it is beautiful things, even if you don't understand English, it's nice for you. But many times, from times to now, it is not beautiful things. Many times it is junk. Michel, ma belle, sont les mots qui vont très bien ensemble, très bien ensemble. This is pure poem that Sir James Paul McCartney made to people. Like Hey Jude, that I love. People, when I start to play Hey Jude, people stop doing whatever they are doing in the restaurants and start to sing with me. It is from Paul McCartney, Hey Jude. But Let It Be also, it's another song. But there is such an amount of bullshit being sung also and sold to us. And we keep on making these people idols of us. And if it is junk that you are listening the whole day long, you don't understand English, but something inside of you feels it, receives it. What to do? What to do? I think the few of us which are still poetic, it is still, like Desiderata says, it is a wonderful poem. There are many beautiful things which can be said and transmitted and spoken in a loving way, explaining, sharing beautiful, nice things. Svad Tatsa Vitur Vareiniam Bargo Devasya Dimai Dionyona Prachodaya Om Burbuvatsvat Tatsa Vitur Vareiniam Bargo devasya dhimai Diyonyona prachodaya. This is called the Gayatri Mantra. Om Bhurбhuvasvat Tatsaviturvarenyam Bargo devasya dhimai Diyonyona prachodaya. I don't know exactly what it means, but something like all human beings are capable to become enlightened using their intellect somehow. And we pray for that. Om Bhurбhuvasvat Tatsaviturvarenyam Bargo devasya dhimai Diyonyona prachodaya. 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 Om Bhurбhuvasvat. Tatsaviturvarenyam Bargo devasya dhimai Diyonyona prachodaya. Om Bhurбhuvasvat Tatsaviturvarenyam Bargo devasya dhimai Diyonyona prachodaya. Om Bhurбhuvasvat Tatsaviturvarenyam Bargo devasya dhimai Diyonyona prachodaya. I want to say thank you for being with me here, wherever you are, which time of the day it is, whomever you are. Thank you for being here with me, with us. RADIOTAZA greets you. Thank you very much. In the name of existence, amen.